Hey guys, alright, this is probably more for future me rather than an actual live stream, because, me. Um, basically, gonna run through doing what I was doing yesterday, except I've already done it. So, we're gonna run through it, and basically, this is really funny. So this is the old system, pretty much variables all over the place. We're setting Windows position. We've got an entire function dedicated to creating a new notification and checking if it's a kernel panic, do this, otherwise do this. We're displaying notification with the new constructor system that I just made, and we've got this massive movement system that was just So pretty much, when creating a new notification, we're getting a problem where, like, okay, what happens if you've got 4 notifications coming in, they don't stack? This wouldn't let me stack because there is no list. We're using variables here. Straight up, like, no lists. This new one, we replaced every single variable and chucked it in a constructor, turned the constructor into a list. So now we have 6 variables associated in a list. Done. Got rid of the interlope using, because that's going to be used for something else. We're going to create a separate notification system just purely for the Logitech keyboard. So yeah, let's run through this. So that's all the variables: audio source, game objects, and script names. Done. Game object, done. There's our scripts. That's the list, or constructor list, dictionary, yeah. Free global, or not global, but like free public variables. We're counting how many instances of the program we've got open, which window are we currently working with, and which program we're working with. So which instance of the program are we working with? Are we working with the first one, the second one, the third one, and what is its window ID? Window manager or Winman, that's literally to handle a unique window ID and instancing and stuff like that. Start function, we've got just referencing game objects. We're trying to find the exact game object that the script is attached to, or referencing, and then we're assigning the variable to the game object, and we're getting its component of the script. We're still setting window position as a default, but we've got rid of the X and Y's. We've just straight up said you're at screen width and screen height minus X, stuff like that. On GUI, got rid of the movement system. I'll implement that later as an entirely different script or entirely different system, because there's a lot of things that I want animated, so I want a bit more of a cleaner solution. We've got a show. Why do we have show in a multitasking capability? It's because when you're starting up the operating system and it's launching all the separate game objects and stuff, you would actually get the notifications showing on top of the boot screen, because you would get the notifications while it was booting. So we make sure that the notifications do not display until you've finished booting into the computer system. Programs count will start at 0. Running programs, well, we count that up, we iterate through that list, and then we check to see if the program name is stacked notification. If it is, then we go through, we count the programs. If it's greater than the total number of stacked notifications, we set it to 0. And then we iterate through again. just so that we don't get any exception errors, pretty much. Add stack notification. Literally does exactly what it is. We add a notification to the stack. So we give it a program name, stack notification, window rect, same thing at the top. We just give it XY positions, width and height. Add a program in the window, stack notification add. So this is gonna be into our own list. So the windman is one list and stacked is another. And then notifications is actually another list on top of that. The notifications for the game controller is for program references. So if I have a program that has a history of unread notifications, we use the game control reference, and the stacked is literally for operating system use, essentially. Play sound. So why do we have customize.cost play noti sound and play sound? So the reason being is if the player doesn't want to play any noti sounds, that's okay. But if there's a certain notification and I want silent happening, I can also make that happen in code. So I can leave it up to the player, or I can leave it up to myself. It gives us both an option. So if I want a notification to force sounds regardless of what the player wants, or if the player wants no sound at all regardless of what I want, there's an option. Remove all stack notifications. That's purely for if we're shutting down, logging off, quitting, we can literally, or you know, if you're going to swap the operating system or something like that, of crashes, we can remove all stack notifications. It's simpler that way, so that when, you know, because the reason why we have to have all these in place is so that it's because the notifications, the stack notifications are always on top of everything. So we need to make sure that they're all removed and all the windows are removed, so then it won't look messy or clunky. This is the close function. We iterate through what are running, how many items it's running. We iterate through is what's running, called stack notification. Is the running window ID equal to the ID of the close? If it is, remove a stack notification, so that will be a singular stacked notification. Add the program ID, that's PID. Windman running programs, remove add I. It's pretty straightforward. This is very important, this part here. We iterate through every running program. If it's a stack notification, we assign the PID to I. So the reason being, when you remove a stack notification, say its PID is 2, right? You remove number 2, but there's number 3 on top, and that's referencing number 3 index on the stacked list. They're going to be mismatched because one list is trying to call something that doesn't exist. So we iterate through all the running programs, again reassign the PIDs to make sure that the PID matches the total list of the stacked list. So that's why that exists. Play noti sound, that's pretty straightforward. Text area pretty much renders first. Actually get rid of that. Actually, no, we can't. No, we can't. Sorry. So this text area is the rect variable reference. So instead of like putting new rect in here and in here, I can just do text rect area XYZ WH. It's just for easier reference. Bring window to front, so any window ID will just bring up to front. Check running programs. Every running program we go through, we check for stack notifications. In this one, we check for window ID. If it's a selected window ID, selected program equals program ID. So then I can just reference selected program to get the current PID. If window ID equals running program window ID, then winman running programs. So this math here is what's stacking it. So for every new notification we get, it decreases the height. So the top of your monitor starts at 0, and then as you get lower, it's a higher number. So we actually want to decrease the number to get higher. So the PID multiplied by 50. So if we have 2 notifications, it's 2 multiplied by 50. Take that number and then take another 50. Ta-da! If stack notifications count is greater than 0, so this is just to make sure like the stack notification list actually exists and there's items in it. For every stack notification in that list, we want to check if J equals the PID. If it does, we give it the actual GUI text area, with the text area rect as the position, and then the message of the notification in the stacked notifications list. If stacked notifications is auto-dismissible, then it'll go through the timer aspect. So this part here is all about time. So if stacked notifications is less than, display time is less than or equal to 0, we close down the window. Else, we do stack notifications display time -1 times time.delta time. Because we're running this on GUI mode, it's actually twice as fast because this runs twice every frame. Technically speaking. So 30 seconds will actually be more like 15 seconds. But that's okay. The part down here is these aren't buttons, so we're replicating a button input. So we're getting the input of a get mouse button down, and we're getting the text area rect, which is why this is important. Up here, we're getting that position if it contains the current event of the mouse position. So if your mouse is currently over the top of the window, even though it's not a button, we can simulate it being a button by doing an input check. Select the current, we get the selected window equals window ID. Make sure that they're both the same. That's just, we probably don't need to do that, but we're doing it anyway, just so everything works. We close the selected window, which goes back up here. So that is how my notification stacking prompt system works compared to the other one. And as you can see, it's a lot more cleaner. One of my versions went from 247 lines of code down to 194. So massive improvement in terms of like just using getting rid of what we don't need. And as you can see, we're only using a handful of for loops. Only 2 for loops every frame. Essentially, we're only doing a for loop every frame, but we need to do that because that's how you render. That's how you render things. So yeah, that hopefully should explain everything with the notification system. What's special about this code is the multitasking aspect. You can, because these are technically multiple programs with their own windows and everything like that, we can now, or I can now go in and make this work for Notepad. So my next stream will actually be me making a new Notepad program, so version 3 of Notepad, where you can run multiple instances of that program. And this is what makes that work, because we're referencing the Winman object. And as you can see, we're referencing it a lot, but this is basically how Windows works. The operating system with Windows and Linux and stuff, that's how they get their they can open up multiple windows at once. So it's the same principle. So hopefully this little tiny stream helped understand my entire system. And the reason why I streamed instead of uploading a recording, because streams are a lot faster than recordings. Australian internet. So yeah, next proper stream will actually be me making a notepad program from scratch with the new designed multi-window manager multitasking system thingamajig. That hopefully should explain the constructor system as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. For anyone that actually watched, thanks. Yeah, 50 minutes. 50 minutes of me rumbling around. Okay, that's it. We're done.